All right, let's get started. You can thumbs up, make sure you can hear me. Hopefully, a few more people pop in here, but we'll go through some of the little stories and tricks I just want to teach. Okay, teach to everyone. So, first off, this is basically geared towards anyone who works with clients at all, and you want to make sure that when you're done, you get paid, or along the way, you're going to get paid. Basically, you don't want to be stiffed by a client. I do have an embarrassing story that early on in our practice, it's a little more complicated with lawyers, but I was deep in on a bill and a client had stopped paying, and I asked to get out of the case, and the judge wouldn't let me out. And it ended up, to this day, that client still owes me over $50,000 of legal fees. So the getting paid has always been very much on my mind. Ever since then, but also with my clients that I work with, and just the line of business I'm in, which is business contracts and lawsuits, and a lot of it's lawsuits. So that's been many years. That mistake is far behind me, but it's still a hard one to live with. And then we also, I can't tell you how many clients we get that say, "Hey, this person hasn't paid me," and then I look at their template and their contract, if they even have one, and I can figure out in about 2 minutes whether I can help them go after somebody. So this is true. This is yesterday. I'm litigating a case. It's probably worth about $100,000, and litigating means have a lawsuit with this case. And there's a clause that you want in your agreements that says basically, if I win and I had to pay all these legal fees, well, the losing side owes me the money. And that way, let's say a client owes you $5,000, well, you got to pay a lawyer to go get the $5,000, right? So you have to usually pay them at least that, some usually more. This one was obviously from a chat GPT or a legal template or something. And sometimes they do a pretty good job, but sometimes they just get it a little bit wrong. And this one had it reversed. So it had the losing side would get the winning side's money. And it was, no human would actually write that kind of thing, or I can't imagine they would intend to, because you would essentially be trying to lose your case so you could get attorney's fees from the other side. So this is the kind of stuff you're worried about with some of the free things online. A lot of them are really useful. We offer online templates, but we write them. We utilize some AI things to shorten times and stuff like that. You just need to know what you're looking for. So some of the things we always recommend, then I know we just got a few people here, but see if we can get any questions you have. But there's a few tricks you want. And the first thing you want to make sure you're always doing is being really clear on what your deliverables are. So you got to be able to trigger when payment is. So if your deliverables is a graphic, is a logo. Well, here's your logo. Give it to the client. Client doesn't like it. They say, "Hey, I want more." And you mess with it some more. You give it back to them. Well, when have you met your obligations? This is why you have to have a really good contract that says, "Oh, we will, do such and such. We will allow 2 revisions." Boom. Very clear line that says, "I've done everything I'm supposed to." This stuff's really important, or else what can happen is, well, you spend hours and hours working on the logo or whatever your service you're providing. That person's never happy. Just one of those people. They're never going to pay you. So you want to make sure your services are really clear. There's something people call scope creep. So you want to make sure that basically whatever you decide you're getting paid for, it stays at that. So if there's more, you say, "Look, I'm happy to do that. It would cost this." You make the client choose whether to pay for it or not. They don't have to, but make them choose. Don't just say yes to everything. So you can guard against scope creep with good agreements and good defined services. So it's like maybe listed as deliverables, could be your scope of services, but you want to be very, very crystal clear on that. I'm talking revisions, like exactly what you're handing. And that way you can go to a lawyer or tell a judge, say, "Hey, look, it says I'm supposed to do this and I get paid 10 grand. and I did this. End of story. And that really can be the end of the story. The other things you want to make sure you have in there are triggers for like late fees. So let's say you're owed $5,000 and that client owes a bunch of people $5,000. Well, they have deals with other vendors or whoever, except their fees, their contract is better than yours, meaning it has a late fee, it has interest, it has attorney's fees, all these sort of things you need to make sure you can go collect it. So there's a strategy we use. It's called the Four Corners strategy. And basically, it makes sure that you're getting some sort of money up front, that there's triggers to get there, and that you can collect your attorney's fees if you got to pay anything to a lawyer to go collect it. Because lawyers don't take these kind of cases on contingency as if you were injured or something like that. It's you got to go pay them hourly. And so it's really, really tricky to say, hey, go, fight this person for $5,000. And the lawyer's going to say, okay, my retainer's $5,000. So it's kind of a lose-lose there, unless you have the right document. So I want to see, I think the chat's open. I don't know if anybody's in here with any questions. That's kind of the overview of it, is just making sure you get the services right, make sure you're clear on the price, and make sure you have these triggers so that you can get paid. That fees clause is extremely, extremely important. If you don't have that, or if you have it backwards, you're never going to get paid. So it's really as simple as that. Sometimes I think of on something like getting paid, there's other elements of contracts that are really important and can get more complicated, like indemnification, ownership of IP, termination, cancellation, all those sort of things. But in terms of if you're delivering a pretty clear service, you should be able to get your contract in a place that is very easy for you to collect. We have just a straightforward service agreement that I'll just put in the chat. It's on discount right now. If you go through and buy that, you can contact me either via YouTube or via our website and ask me any questions. I'll go over the agreement with you, explaining what it is. There's a video in there. So it's a really useful thing, but it has those four corners. It has everything lined up. One of the problems we see with the free templates is sometimes they're fine, and I think they're in general a great addition to running a business. I run one. Look, I have my own horror story. I wish I had a better agreement at the time, and better practices. A lot of this is good practices. So one of the things we teach is don't start doing work for anybody until they give you some amount of money. I don't care if it's 10%. I don't care whatever your tolerance for risk is, but you need to know that they're willing to pay you. If they aren't, then you better move on very quickly, and you will have learned something. Other thing I hear from people a good bit is, just kind of their email and talking. Oh, they got a deal. They don't want to then introduce a contract into it. If you're going to run a business, it makes you look better. So it makes you look worse to not have an agreement. It looks like you're just kind of figuring it out, freelancing. You want to look sharp. You want to look like you know what you're doing. You want to look like you know your contract. You want to look like, you want a professional contract. And so let's say you put a contract in front of somebody and they don't want to sign it. That's fine. You just learned a lot of good information that person is going to be a horrible client. I have another story about that. Is that a client comes to me, runs a marketing company, and it's like $5,000 a month kind of a thing, just flat fee. Client wouldn't sign the agreement. The agreement has several months termination, the fees, and all that sort of stuff. And like everybody, marketing takes a minute to get right. So this person was working for like 3 weeks, and they're like, oh, we hadn't had any sales, and they freak out. Didn't sign the contract. So this client had no recourse whatsoever because there's no signed contract. And that's the only way you can really get meaningful recourse. And so demanded all her money back, and then basically held her hostage and put bad reviews on everything from BBB to Google, and just said, if you don't give me my money back, then I'm going to keep doing it. All right. See, I got a question. Let's see. What's the best way to frame a client agreement when you're offering discounted pricing? Let's see. I'm trying to say, can you add to that a little bit? if you're offering discounted pricing, I would just put the price, I would just put it in there. So it's very clear. I don't think that would be any different. So if I was charging $200 an hour, or let's say $5,000 a month, and we're discounting it to $3,000, you can still say normal price is $5,000 discounted to $3,000, or you could just say what the $3,000. Does that? Let me know if that answers your question, or add to it, and I'll see if I can help you. All right, there's a few more people in here. Anybody else got any questions? I don't want to drag you on, and everybody's time is valuable. Take a look at those agreements; they're really good. We write them out of our law firm, and we update them all the time. So we always offer money back guarantee. So if you ever have to hire a lawyer on a contract that that came from Drafted Legal, then you'll get a full refund. So what are the basic things needed in a contract? You can look around our website. You can probably get a little bit more in depth. A contract is an offer and acceptance, what they call a meeting of minds. If you're looking at kind of protecting yourself, I'd say probably most of our contracts probably have, I don't know, 15 to 30 clauses in them. But from a high level, what you're looking at is making sure that you are extremely clear on what services are being provided and all of the payment terms. So that's the kind of getting paid portion. And then from there, there's a lot of contingency sort of things. So if you are a health coach, you want to disclaim and say, look, I haven't, I'm not a doctor. I haven't reviewed to see that you're okay with, the training we're about to go through. So you want to disclaim, like, you need to make sure you're okay. I'm going to push you really hard. This is what I do. I'm going to get your body in great shape, but I'm not a doctor. So you need to be okay with assuming that risk with me. If you're a marketer, you need to be really clear on who owns what IP. A lot of times you want to have things like non-solicitation clauses in there, which mean, oh, you can't go, let's like undercut me and poach a client or an employee. So if I'm a marketing agency and I've got somebody doing Google ads on the account, I don't want a client then just poaching, the person I work with. The IP, the terminating, how do you get out? If it's an ongoing contract, how do you get out of it? Usually you want them as simple as the situation allows. So this is one of the problems you see with kind of the free stuff online is they're either too simple or they're just a disaster and they're so long. And they sign you up to do all these things. So it'll be 40 clauses in there and you're only doing about 12 of them. You can't enforce that very well because the other party's going to say, look at all these all these clauses that they don't, this thing doesn't even make any sense. So you need it to make sense. You need it, we call it the architecture of the document, needs to flow together. So you want to get it from the same source that kind of has an understanding of what you're doing, and then make sure you understand it. We all want it, quick and done for us. That's why we have these contracts that are all written by the same lawyer or sets of lawyers, and that way you know what you can take out, and you know that everything is pointing to each other the right way. Let me know, just chat me if you have anything other specific questions about what to put in there. But that's, service pricing, and then some like CYA kind of things. We're always, it's my hope that you never you never have to call a lawyer, hire a lawyer. That's just not how the world is right now. It's extremely litigious. So we always kind of joke that imagine that 1 out of 25 of your clients is the Karen, the meme, just the person you can't, let me talk to your manager, the person you can't make happy. That person will at some point be on the other side of this contract. And so it needs to be written in a way that you have all the tools you need to collect your money, terminate the agreement, protect yourself, that kind of thing. So I hope that was helpful. Any other questions out there? Okay, again, you can always go to our website. It's here we go. And then you can email us, of course. You can always email us at that email. We have a team that looks at them, but they'll usually get to me as well. So you can reference me just to make sure, Wesley, if you got a question. Again, if you purchase anything off of this, there's a discount on it. You just let me know if you want to talk through it, and we'll spend 10 minutes just kind of walking through, answering any questions, kind of pointing you in the right direction. I am a lawyer, not your lawyer, that kind of a thing, but I want to be as helpful as possible. We run a business, we get it, but you want to make sure it's working for you, the document's working for you. And then, usually it's one of those things once you get it right, you don't have to think about it a whole lot. You got to tweak it here and there for different clients, but then you're in a good spot. So, all right, YouTube land, thank you all for showing up. I hope that was helpful. And again, just shoot us emails or, go on the website if you have any other questions. Thank you.